Hey y'all, Will here at Schedulefly. This is a little bit different than our normal episodes. This is something that happened yesterday, a story that somebody told me that prompted me to want to share some thoughts about what I believe is a very important subject. Uh, if you've been listening to this podcast, you know that one of our sponsors and one of our partners here at Schedulefly is Flip, FLYP, Flip Mobile Banking. Um, and the the two guys that founded that business, Gary and BJ, well, they've been following up with people that signed up for Flip through Schedulefly that have not funded their accounts yet. And they're doing that because they want to find out, why and see if they can help and answer questions about Flip. And they're rolling up their sleeves and they're making these individual calls and as we say, doing things that don't scale because this is a new business. Flip's been around just a year or two. They've been working on it for a long time, but it's a startup. And when you're running a business like that, you have to do things that don't scale early on to figure out, you know, where your gaps are and so forth, and figure out how to patch those up and get that sucker moving forward in a non-linear pace at some point. Well, they're making these phone calls and they're talking to these people. They've signed up for Flip through Schedulefly. They use the Schedulefly promo code. They got their Flip card and they have a Flip checking account, but they haven't put any money in it. So they're calling these folks and just saying, just curious, if you want to use Flip and if you still plan to fund it and what can I do to help and so forth. Okay. Well, Gary spoke to this young lady yesterday and she had not put any money in yet. And he's like, well, how are you getting paid now? And she says, well, I get a paycheck. And I wanted to do the Flip thing, but then I realized I would get my money later. One of my fellow employees told me that I would get my money like 2 weeks later than if I get a paycheck. And he was like, well, no, that's definitely not the case. In fact, if you were paid on, let's say, Fridays and you get your paycheck Friday, if you do Flip and do direct deposit, you're going to get your money on Wednesday. You can get it 2 days early. It's when they issue the payment. So she was elated about that. And he said, well, let me ask you this. What do you do with your check? Like, you get the check now, where do you take it to cash it? And she told him the name of the place. I'm not going to say it, but it's one of these check cashing places, payday loans and things like that. And he was asking her about the fee structure and all that. She's like, "Oh, it's not that much, I took a $120 check the other day, and they only took $15." Of course, Gary about falls out of his chair. $15 on a $120 check. Now, this young lady has not been taught, sound financial acumen, right, in her home, and certainly it's not taught in school. So she's listening to people at work say, things like you'll get your pay later on direct deposit than if you get a check, and she thinks that $15 is fine off a $120 check because that's what she's used to. And where Gary hears that, or I hear that, and we're just like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, they're just taking such advantage of people, these businesses that do this. So, warning shot, like, y'all are not going to last if you do that. Companies like Flip and other companies that do what they do are going to make it easy for people to get their money earlier and to have access to that money and to not have to pay to have access to that money. That's just shameful to take that amount of money out of somebody's check. And you're taking advantage of people that are working their asses off in these restaurants, working long hours, working hard on their feet, dealing with the public. It's just, it's hard to believe. But here I am in my bubble thinking this is hard to believe, where some people are like, oh, that's just how it is, right? Well, it doesn't have to be. And outside of being regulated out of business one day, which I'm not necessarily an advocate for that, your business is going to fail because other companies like Flip are going to come in and they're going to bridge the gap between what these folks have available to them now and what could be available. So best of luck to you if you're doing that. You know what you're doing. You're wolves feeding on sheep that don't know better, and you deserve to go out of business, and companies like Flip will. And forgive me for being so aggressive, folks, with this messaging. I I don't ask for forgiveness, but I ask for understanding. It fires me up to no end. The people that we serve provide this amazing um, service to our communities. They work in independent restaurants and hospitality businesses. They're small businesses. They're the lifeblood of our communities. These people work hard, and taking advantage of them it sucks. So, but good for companies like Flip that are going to, um, flip the coin. I don't know. That's a terrible pun. They're gonna change the game, and so that makes me even more thankful that we work with these guys, with Gary and BJ and the team at Flip, for what they're doing. And y'all are going to be out of business before long because it's not sustainable what you're doing, and you know better. And best of luck. All right, thank you all for listening. More normal, calm episodes coming soon with restaurant owners and hospitality people and the Timeless Advice series. But I had to get this off my chest, so thank you for indulging me. Y'all take care. Bye.